Exciting news on the Discovery Series between the Atlanta Opera and Georgia State's Rialto Center.
Good morning. My name is Greg Houston. I am the moderator this morning. I'm the public relations representative for the Atlanta Opera. Thank you all for coming out. We're here to talk about a very exciting new partnership between the Atlanta Opera and the Rialto Center for the Arts. My job this morning is to introduce Leslie and Leslie Gordon, who is the director of the Rialto Center, and Tomer Zuvlin, who is the general and artistic director of the Atlanta Opera. Before I do that, I want to give you a few details on the opera that we're going to be performing here. It's called Soldier Songs. It is a contemporary opera written by an American, a man named David T. Little, and it follows the journey of a single American soldier over 60 years. In recognition of that fact, we are going to open that show on Wednesday, November 11th, which is Veterans Day. It will have four performances, the 11th, the 12th, the 14th, and the 15th. And single tickets will be on sale through both the Atlanta Opera and the Rialto Center. The show, the production of the show is an evening of music, both classical music infused with rock, and high-powered visuals. There'll be projections, there will be animations, and it will be at times jarring. The show was designed by Vida Zikun, and the spelling of that will be in the press release, and David Adam Moore, who and their company Glimmer. They will also be responsible for producing another show called Winter's Journey, which will actually open the 2015 and 16 season. The creative team is production directed by Tomer Zuvlin, and singing the main role is a baritone, a man named Matthew Worth. He is a rising star in opera circles, and he is currently or recently completed the Manchurian Candidate to great critical acclaim, and was a part of the award-winning Silent Night, which appeared at the Wexford Festival late last year. Next, he will be playing John F. Kennedy in David T. Little's production, or David T. Little's show, JFK. And with that, I would like to turn the microphone over to Leslie Gordon. She will then pass it on to Tomer, and I'll come back. I'm sorry, that's terrible of me. You got that on tape, right?
You're live in the world. You're on Periscope right now.
And then we'll take questions. Turn the microphone to you.
Thanks. So we're very excited about this. We have wanted for a long time to do some contemporary music theater type work on our series. This was an incredible opportunity for us because the Atlanta Opera is such a marquee institution, and we wanted to expand our partnerships with as we have with other institutions like the National Black Arts Festival and the Atlanta Ballet and other groups, major institutions in town that we work with. So when this opportunity came up, we thought, let's add this to our series. It's a great chance for us. And we were so excited that this new and exciting artistic director, Tomer Zuvlin, was going to be able to bring this to us. We're also excited because there is a Georgia State connection. Dr. Stuart Gerber, who's head of our percussion program, and is also an internationally acclaimed percussionist. And actually the composer knew him and knew of his work. We'll be doing the percussion part as part of the production.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm happy about this opportunity to bring Soldier Songs to the Rialto Theater for a few reasons. The first one is the fact that Atlanta Opera is coming downtown. For many years, we've performed at the Carnegie Center, which is a wonderful space for performances. But it was one of my dreams to take the opera and show it everywhere. And downtown Atlanta is where we need to be. So that is a very exciting aspect of that production. The second aspect is that the subject matter is very close to my heart. This is an evening dedicated to veterans. It's based on letters and memoirs of people that served in the Afghanistan War and the Iraq War. And it's about letters, stories that they wrote. David T. Little, the composer who's in his mid-30s, and he's one of the most important composers that live today, took those very, very heartfelt letters and made an evening of stories out of those. And as dedication to those soldiers that protect us, we open it on Veterans Day on November 11th. The third reason that I'm excited about this is that the production itself makes use of multimedia and technology to bring that story to life. And I think that that's a very important element of what we do, is how does technology influence classical music in the 21st century. So for all those reasons, I'm very excited about this.
And I think, like I often say to people, because we have a very big focus on dance, and those of you who know the Rialto know that we're known for bringing innovative dance companies in, I always say that people are afraid of the word dance, and I also think that people are afraid of the word opera. So I think that this is an incredible opportunity for us. For one thing, we have this marvelous new program coming up on campus CMII, the Digital Media Lab, and this technology that's going to be used for this opera is fitting exactly in with what they're focused on and what their focus will be.
The other thing I want to talk about is to quote a wonderful leader who's right around the corner, Tom Key. And Tom Key said, and it's kind of engraved in my mind, we start the conversations that matters. I think that that's their mission. And I find that inspiring. And the reasons that we're doing Soldier Songs next year is that that is a conversation that matters. As Leslie said, opera can sound scary. Often we think about a very large lady planted in the middle of the stage with horns doing gestures in Italian. That can be the case. I'm not a big fan of that case. More often than not, opera is a very exciting art form that incorporates all kinds of different art styles, from classical music to voice to visuals to multimedia to set design, and I can go on until tomorrow, but I don't want to bore you. But you take that piece, Soldier Songs, which is in English, and it's written by a 35-year-old man who's connected to this generation, designed by a production team that watches House of Cards on Netflix. And you try to figure out, what is this generation about? How do we touch people and not stay in an ivory tower somewhere in the suburb? That's my hope for opera. I think. Questions? Nancy.
I have a question for actually both of you. As Leslie mentioned, we are trying to collaborate with all different organizations, group organizations. How did this actually come about? Because I think people in this community see you all as two very different entities, and yet you obviously have a common thing. Besides just the will to do it, how did it come about? Where'd y'all start? Where'd you start?
Let's see. I met Tomer very soon after he got here. I wanted him to see the space. He had we have a mutual friend who is very big with opera and very interested in opera and performance in Atlanta, and he encouraged Tomer to come to the space, and we were just convinced that he would fall in love with it and want to do something here. I mean, those of you who come here regularly know our acoustics are quite fine. The space feels intimate, so it doesn't matter if there are 300 people in the audience or if there are 800 people in the audience. The experience, just because of the way we're built and the way we sound, feels right. So I was hoping very much that there'd be something that worked out right for both of us. I think the interesting thing, I mean, for us, it was a big decision for us to put it on our series, and I want him to talk about the Discovery series in general, what this will be a part of, but I think it's the right thing to do. It's doing exactly what we did with dance a few years ago, stepping out, taking the chance. And we we do have to realize our place in the community. I mean, everyone now is a presenter. So that means everybody's putting on shows, and probably in their office buildings, I don't even know. So we have to do something that makes us stand out, and we have to do something significant for the community. And I think this partnership is significant for the arts ecology of Atlanta.
Nancy, I think the answer to your question has a few sections for me. The first one is it starts with personalities. And for a collaboration, there needs to be chemistry. And when I met Leslie, we gravitated toward each other. And I think that both of us respect what each other does. And that was a very important part. The second part is that I really like the space. There is something about it and about the location that works with that piece. That piece is very sincere and right there, just like this place for me. The third one is collaboration. Collaboration is a very trendy word, along with synergy. Synergy and collaborations, everybody likes to say that. But it takes a lot to collaborate. And at the same time, the fact that it's challenging and that it takes effort from the staff to the leadership to the board makes that worthwhile. And in the past couple of years, the opera has collaborated with a lot of other arts organizations, like the Bremen Museum, the Alliance Theater, KSU, Emory University, and on and on and on. And it was very, very important for me to come together with Leslie and collaborate at the Rialto Theater, which is one of the leading institutions in Atlanta.
Tomer, Lance Helms from the AJC. Could you elaborate just a little bit more on the value of being downtown? You've said the benefits of the venue, but is there something about being this close to downtown versus, I guess, Cobb Energy that makes that big of a difference?
This was Lance from the AJC, those of you who didn't hear, and he was asking about the benefits of performing downtown. Well, the first benefit for me is the fact that the Rialto Theater is, despite the fact that there are 800 seats in the Rialto Theater, it's more intimate in terms of venue for the opera. The opera performs in a 2,600 seat performance hall. So doing something here, for me, feels more intimate. There is something about the space, as I said again, that is very, there's something grungy about it that I really like. And I want to embrace that and use it in the production because the theme is just that. It's about war and the experience of what a soldier being in war means. The third element is it's a big statement for the community that the opera is the opera for the people of the city and not just in one venue. And that's why performing everywhere, and downtown is a big part of the equation, is very important for us.
Now, we don't really think of the Rialto Theater as grungy ourselves.
Edgy is this is, when I make mistakes like that, I always go back to the fact that I'm Israeli. So my vocabulary is limited. Edgy.
Can you talk to us about this production? All right, now you've talked about technology, and I have to tell you, I can remember bringing a technology production, and they said we're going to need 40 computers backstage. What are we looking at? And do we have just one single voice on stage at all times?
So this is a question from Tammy Hale about technology. The design of the piece, as Greg said, is by a New York-based group called Glimmer, G-L-M-M-R. It's basically consisting of Vita Tsaikon, who is a phenomenal set and costume designer. Who designed many shows from Wexford to Kansas City to Juilliard and on and on. And her partner, David Adam Moore, who is a leading singer, and I think that you may know him from Austin when he sang the Magic Flute. But now David is also a very talented visual artist, and together they're launching this team that focuses on multimedia, technology, and visual arts incorporated into music. Now, the piece itself, Soldier Songs, is a one-man show. However, and I'm not ready to go into the concept and design just yet, there's going to be one voice, but there's going to be other characters there, perhaps in different times of a soldier's experience. And the other element in the show is obviously the band. And I say band on purpose because it is an orchestra, but in this case it's so tight. It's 7 players, including Mr. Gerber, and the Atlanta Opera Orchestra, and a couple of members from David T. Lill's original band, Newspeak, who did this piece before in New York City. To the other part of your question, how much technology and multimedia is going to be incorporated, I think that as we start to design, as we're really coming to the terms of what the production elements are going to be, a big part of it are projections and how they allow us to get into the psyche, memories, and internal world of a soldier. I believe that war cannot be created on stage. If you try to create war on stage, it's not going to work. The reason that this is so important to do is the effect of war on humanity. What does it mean to experience that and come out of it? What does it mean to have your brain washed when you go to the army and you're supposed to serve for 3 years in some foreign land? How did they get you to that point? What do you experience? And how does it feel going back into society and trying to be a part of it again? And lastly, the theme for me with this piece is permission. The show starts with a phrase that I find very powerful. I never talk about this to anybody. I never talk about this to anybody. And that's something that you will hear from a lot of veterans. They don't talk about this to anybody. And this piece is about permission, allowing them to talk about this, because it's worth hearing.
Hi, Harper Strom with Georgia State University. I was wondering if you could talk a bit more about the sorts of conversations you're trying to start with the Discovery series.
I like that question. Harper from Georgia State University asked about the kind of conversations we're trying to start with the Discovery series. Like I said, for me, opera is a living, breathing art form. It is 300, 400 years old, but it's as vibrant and alive now as it's ever been. There is a certain renaissance in American opera that is very exciting to me. There are more operas written right now by American composers than any time before. And some of them are absolutely fantastic. You may have heard of Dead Man Walking, Moby Dick, Silent Night, JFK, Dead Man Walking, and I can go on and on. So there is something exciting about that. The other part of it is that opera is moving into real connection with this sophisticated generation, the 21st century generation. And so the style that opera is presented is, in my opinion, much more immediate, visual, theatrical, and touching. And so that's where my company is heading. But for your question about the Discovery series, conversation that matters, to quote Tom Key, for me, is obviously with the soldiers and veterans. What does it mean to come back from war? How does war affect individuals and society? The other piece we're doing this coming year is Winter Journey, as Greg mentioned. It's a piece by Schubert that is not really an opera, it's a lieder evening, a song evening. But what we're exploring with that piece is the effect of technology on classical music. You live in a world that is highly visual, including all those cell phones, computers, LED screens. How do we listen in a world like that to music? Does visual affect it? Does multimedia affect it? And the answer, in my opinion, is yes. So that's what Winter Journey is about. The piece that we're about to open this weekend, 3 Decembers at the Alliance Theater, is a very moving story about a family. No kings, no courtesans dying of consumption in this piece, but a regular family who's dealing with the challenges of being a family. And who doesn't deal with challenges of being a family? In that case, it's a mother who is a Broadway star who is alienated from her kids, her daughter who's in a bad marriage, her husband cheats on her and she doesn't know how to get out of that circle, and her son who lost his partner for AIDS. So those conversations matters.
And can you distinguish the Discovery series from the main stage series?
Our main stage series, the performance is, first of all, the location is the Cobb Energy Center, which is a beautiful state-of-the-art performance space that allows us to do anything we want on stage, basically, with a full budget and a grand opera scale, which means 250 to 300 people involved in a production, 60 people in the pit, an orchestra, a chorus of 50, usually a cast of 15, an army of stagehands, lighting, wig and makeup, and so on and so forth. The Discovery series is a completely different concept. It allows us to do more intimate scale operas with many times subjects that are not necessarily opera typical. And it allows us to do them in different parts of the city and to really connect to different communities. It also allows us to take more risks in terms of what we present, because the fiscal risk lowers and the artistic risk is higher in that regard. A piece like Soldier Songs is a one-man show. 3 Decembers is 3 singers and an orchestra of 10. So that combination of allowing us to be everywhere in the city, perform in alternative venues, connect to different communities, and do that in a fiscally responsible, we're always responsible, in a fiscally more careful way, is the idea behind the Discovery series.
I do want to say that my crew, part of them is here today, they're so excited. My production manager, I mean, everyone is so excited about working with the team that Tomer's bringing in. It's a fabulous opportunity for us. As you know, as a presenting house, and those of you who come here regularly, I mean, we're usually flying in an artist who might do 1 or 2 master classes, and then they do their performance and they fly out. The opportunity to have actually these amazing artists in residence working with us, we're really looking forward to as a learning opportunity and a just great, grand old time.
Thank you. The feeling is mutual. There's a couple more things that is kind of interesting in the way that this artistic team has been in place. As Greg mentioned, the singer for Soldier Songs is Matthew Worth. And Matthew Worth is kind of the up-and-coming superstar of the opera world. He is going to star at the end of next season in the new piece, JFK, that will be premiered in Fort Worth Festival. The interesting element of it is that starring in JFK is not the only link to Soldier Songs, because JFK is written by the same composer that is writing JFK, and that's David Tiller. The other really interesting thing about this artistic team is that David Allen Moore, who is a part of the design team, created the world premiere of Soldier Songs. As a matter of fact, his recording, that you can get on iTunes, of Soldier Songs, is available. So for him to move from creating it vocally into a different seat in the house, that of as a designer and concept artist, is a very interesting move. Lastly, I would say that my connection to the piece is very, very visceral and immediate. I spent 3 years in the Army. And that experience, although it's not in Afghanistan or in Iraq, that was in Israel, that experience of a soldier and what it means to be a soldier and how it affects your family and the people that are close to you is something that I think of often and I think is important to convey and to talk about.
Will the Rialto be doing more of these collaborations with the opera?
We'd love to. We'll see how this one works. I hope you all support it and come and bring your friends. All 4 times.
Agreed. Cam.
Are you seeing the Discovery series reach a different audience by doing newer works, doing them in different locations?
I hope so.
I would guess single ticket sales would give a clue to that.
Exactly, yes. And so we have a very strong subscription base. And they're a very avid and loyal fan base that comes to everything that we do at the Cobb Energy. And I'm sure that we'll see a lot of them here because they love opera, they love opera. But the Discovery series allows us to connect to not only our most loyal fan base, but also hopefully expand it to people that are interested in different stories, in different perspectives, in the idea of how multimedia is connected to opera, theater, music, and it also allows us to connect to different communities because we perform in different venues across the city.
I think from the Rialto standpoint, I mean, for us, we are known for taking chances. We introduce a lot of artists to Atlanta that have never had a platform here before. And people take the risk, they take the step forward and they'll come and they love to hang out. I mean, a lot of times we have to chase people out of the lobby because the artists often will come down and talk to folks and people want to talk about what they've seen. I mean, my favorite quotes is something that one of our subscribers said. She said, you know, I walk in as part of an audience and I walk out as part of a community. We feel like this is a perfect opportunity to build that community and to tie into maybe an unheard community in the arts world, the veteran community, and bring that community together in a place like the Rialto.
Jennifer Giles from Georgia State University. And I hope this isn't a duplicate question, but of what the gentleman asked earlier about conversations. But my older brother did 2 tours in Vietnam. He's in his mid-60s now, and there are still many things that he has not shared with us that we respectfully don't approach him to share. But looking at your quote in the news release where you talk about permission, you talk about how society doesn't always allow them to share, what is your hope that this opera will serve in terms of more veterans feeling safe to talk about things and family and friends knowing how to do that?
It's a really good question. And as you know from your brother, you don't push, you allow. And if it will allow people to open up and talk or feel connected to the fact that other people allow themselves to talk, people that are a part of this piece, because it's based on texts that veterans wrote. If that will happen, that will make me very happy. And I think we will achieve our goal. At the same time, it will also allow us to recognize and thank the people that went through this experience. So I don't see a way we can lose.
Thank you.
Is there any more questions? Hearing none?
So stay and drink coffee and juice and eat the bagels and the fruit, because if you don't, our staff will. So it was really an excuse for a party. So hang out and let's talk. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.